see these? These things.
Reese's Pieces eggs. Oh, anything with the word Reese's in it makes me happy.
Right. They do not taste like Reese's Pieces. Okay. So whoever is out there at the Hershey Company, talk to whoever designed the Reese's Pieces eggs. I don't know what you guys did differently. They do not.
Say the product name again.
Reese's Pieces.
Oh, so you just did a pet peeve of mine. Reese's? No, Reese's.
Reese's. Okay. All right.
It's
Reese.
like, all right, so like, all right, so
Uh,
Michael Bihn's character in the first Terminator, his name is Kyle.
uh,
What's his last name?
man, now,
His name's his, his name's Kyle Reese. His name's not Kyle Reese,
yeah,
so it wouldn't be Kyle Reese's Pieces. It would be
Reese's Pieces. Well, that's the whole thing because it's apostrophe S.
Reese's.
Reese's. Yeah, we all
See,
know.
this is one of those weird pet peeve things of mine. Like it makes
Sorry,
my skin crawl for like no, it's good. Like it's
we all know that I don't speak very good, but I write really well. So just putting that out there.
I
uh,
don't talk so good.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I did it for you. I did it for the. Um, but either way, speaking of that though, Pennsylvania, we might have to start cheering for the Eagles, more so me than you.
I was gonna say I already cheer as long as the Eagles aren't playing the Falcons, I cheer for the Eagles. So yeah.
Yeah, I never lived
And
it, but also uh, the amount of Georgia players that are now on the Eagles team makes it like it's the NFL version of the Bulldogs now.
well, that makes sense. Like back-to-back national champions, why wouldn't you just hey, next level up, like grab the champions from the level down?
Exactly. Did you see that the Eagles changed their Twitter bio, their official bio?
No.
It's I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Doing that. I'm doing it right now. It's a beat the clock. Who can get it first? Because I
Oh,
think I follow them, so mine would probably come up quicker than yours.
yeah. I just know that I searched for them the other day. Oh, they switched it back. I took
It's just fly Eagles fly.
either way, I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to our family so I can read what it says. So this is from Monday, day after NFL draft stuff. It was close to the end. They changed it to PhilaGeorgia Bulleagles or Georgia Delta Eagle Dogs was the official Twitter bio for the
See,
Philadelphia.
but like the best like unofficial thing I've seen was like people were saying like Philadelphia Bulldogs and stuff. I saw somebody say that they should change it to the Philadelphia Beagles, and I liked that.
Smaller dog, that's angry or ferocious. So either way, still in conjunction with all of our Pennsylvania things, Pennsylvania is the second most like listeners of our podcast. So shout out to you guys in Pennsylvania, whether it be Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. I know those are two rival cities. No, but I don't know where you're located. But thanks for listening to the podcast.
I like that those are the only two cities you know in Pennsylvania. You're like, I'm just gonna name two that I know, and we're good.
I mean, I could go with Upper Darby. That's where my
Upper
mother.
Darby, yeah, you could, yeah. Lancaster, don't say Lancaster. Lancaster, that's I think it's one of my favorites. Just like you don't say downtown, it's Center City. If I found that out real quick when I moved there, they will let you know you are in Center
Yeah.
City, Philadelphia, not downtown.
Yes, I know an interesting group of people that are from Philadelphia that don't sound anything like the population is pushed off to the world as. Like the, I don't think any of them would climb the greased poles. And
And eat horse shit in a parade. That's
right, and yeah, and they all say Eagles. They don't say Eagles.
Eagles. You gotta after the Eagles win, you gotta go celebrate by getting some water ice. Yeah,
Yeah,
get
that's
a get a get a steak whip. Yeah. So you can't tell I lived there for 5 years.
where Matt lived. I don't know at all.
I loved it though because like I got to hear that my accent was charming. That's apparently Southern accent's charming. It didn't sound like white trash or Southern. That sounded charming.
Right. But you also, from the South, realize that you don't actually sound Southern.
When I listen to these podcasts or listen to like anything else where I'm recorded, I hear it. Like I don't hear it like an everyday conversation, but I hear it like, ew, jeez.
Hear it every once in a while, depending on what kind of words are being used, especially with my pronunciation of E's and I's that sound exactly the same.
If I get angry or if I've been drinking, especially if like angry drinking tired combination, just it's yeah, all bets are off. Super southern.
Yeah. Most of the time, though, I don't hear it here in North Carolina because there's a North Carolina Southern accent that,
Oh, definitely. It's very distinct.
yeah, an emphasis on ICH endings. I had a sandwich. I'm like, what? Is there a hat that comes with that? Either way,
Hey,
kind of, that doesn't lead at all to what we wanted to
I know,
discuss.
actually, it does. I was sitting here, and it's the perfect segue. You set us up perfectly because you were talking about the NFL draft, and for the NFL draft, before that, to assess those players, there was the NFL Combine, and with the NFL Combine, there has to be very sports specific or functional movements
Oh,
that apply to the sport of football. So today, we're going to talk some functional training and bodyweight training.
right. We've mentioned this in more so in passing in previous podcasts, but we're going to more emphasize it on this. And the reason why this topic came up is a multifold thing that's allegedly supposed to be a trend in this year in 2023. We're recording this podcast, but also I've had a lot of questions about uh, body weight exercises for building muscle mass and uh, other phrases like "I'm not a gym person," quote unquote, when it comes to working out and exercise. And if you are not a gym person, can you still build muscle mass? Uh,
Depends on where you're at in your fitness journey, which is kind of a loaded answer, I know, to a loaded question. Yeah, for an individual who's never stepped foot in a gym, individual who's never, decided to do any sort of strength training whatsoever, absolutely. Like, because you'll hear me say this over and over again if you work with me as a client or if you listen to this podcast, overload principle. You've got to do more than what your body's accustomed to. So if you've never done, and my cat literally just turned off my camera. Um, so if you've never done a push up before, hey, doing one push up is more than what your body's accustomed to. So eventually you're going to kind of get to where if you keep progressing, that you're going to have to find some way to overload it with more than body weight. But yeah, if you're a beginning individual exerciser, absolutely, body weight's a fantastic way to start.
yeah, I think about it from a medical perspective. My sister-in-law, who we referenced before, is a physical therapist, and the Becoming a Supple Leopard book that we mentioned on our favorite books on a previous podcast, Dr. Kelly Starrett, physical therapist, they both talk about it in the functional aspect of everyday living. You need to be able to stand up from a chair. You need to be able to squat down to pick something up. You need to be able to hinge over to a sink to wash dishes, wash your hands. You need to be able to reach up overhead to pull something from a shelf and bring it back down. And but when it is in the fitness world and people define things as quote unquote functional,
Yeah, when we were discussing this topic, I think we went with two polar opposites. Like you had a very positive, like, "Hey, I really want to discuss functional body weight training," and I was like, "Screw everybody out there talking about this being functional."
yeah, I think it's unique. I don't understand. There are definitely exercises that you can twist to say are functional that you do in a gym setting. And that emphasis on the twist to do, because like a bench press, not
I
necessarily.
know you go back and listen to our favorite exercise episode. I talked about like I prefaced it. My favorite exercise, the most non-functional exercise there is. Like that's a common thing. Like, hey, how much you bench? Cool. Like I'd never find myself lying down in my apartment having to push 300 pounds off me, but I do find myself having to get up out of a chair. I do upright rows. I find myself having to pick the trash bag up out of the can, on trash day. So, but yeah, I never go. You know what? Speaking of functional, like I've got my ice pack on right now. I can't function properly because if you follow my wrestling career, I decided to do a really stupid dive and overshot and landed on concrete, high velocity from about 5 feet in the air.
That's why it's a high risk maneuver.
So hopefully it's okay. And it was really smart because I played 9 innings of baseball the next morning. So
Yeah, that's.
yeah, 12 hours later, I was swinging a baseball bat and throwing.
Are you a right-handed batter?
Yes, right-handed batter and thrower. Like it's awful. It was I groaned and grunted every time. Like I did anything. Like yeah, it's very very appealing.
We'll come back.
I know we need an injury prevention episode.
Ken,
The do as I say, not as I do episode. There you go.
Ken Griffey Jr. bats and throws left-handed, but does everything else right-handed.
Which would be great. And then I went to the batting cage today and I fouled one off my elbow that's injured.
Oh,
There's a nice four-letter word. Yeah. But yes, so you're talking about the positive of like the functional training and like there's very functional movements that you do. Like you said, like I said, the trash bag, like you said, standing up or reaching for something with your bummed out elbow. I think opposite end of the spectrum, you often find people say this is functional training. And I used to train at a big box gym that's now gone, went out of business in lovely Athens, Georgia. If you're from there and our age group, you can put it together which one it was. But they had, our personal training team. I was one of the personal trainers, and then they had our personal training sales staff. That the idea was that people would go, hey, maybe I want a personal trainer. They'd sign up for this free session with a personal training sales staff and they would make the individual think that they were so out of shape that they had to have a personal trainer. So they would, yeah, yeah. So you would end up seeing them doing like, people that couldn't perform a squat were performing like an overhead squat on a Bosu ball with like dumbbells overhead. Like, if you can't perform a squat, you shouldn't perform a squat on a Bosu. You should perform a squat with weight. You shouldn't perform an overhead squat. Like those are progressions to exercise. And I say this in training all the time. I said this when I trained aspiring personal trainers. Ask yourself, why am I doing this movement? Why am I doing this exercise? And if you can't answer it, you shouldn't do it. So like, why am I, doing an overhead press? Well, because like it strengthens the anterior medial deltoid and the tricep, and I need that for talking about functional to like lift stuff up and put it in the cabinet, or like hold a baby up or hold Simba or whatever. Like I'm not a parent, so I don't know. But like where would
stabilizing pieces in there?
exactly like? But why would I ever find myself like in this awkward position, like unless it's like some sport specific something, and I don't play that sport. Maybe there is. Maybe we have listeners out there that are like, hey, I do that all the time because for my chosen sport or my chosen activity that works for me. So shoot us a line and let us know like what's specific for you, what's specific in your daily life, what's specific in your sports, what's specific for you, what sport specific training or functional training means to you.
Yeah, that's back to the combine. The bench press there is not used in sport of football. I get what they're trying.
If you're getting
Angle that they're at, you do not push directly in front of you.
Yeah, it's on like that's if you want to like that's as close as you can get
underneath the shoulder pads of the other person and pushing up like, so, to move them away from you, not directly in front of you.
My favorite is like talking to like former like NFL linemen. I know a few like that like they would like super glue their jersey to their shoulder pads so you couldn't grab onto it. And they'd wear like jerseys that were like 2 sizes too small. Like there's all kinds of fun stuff that are great.
Yeah. And it's the Jim Rome adage: everybody's cheating, and it's only cheating if you get caught. And so that goes.
Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. Jesse Ventura. That's
pitcher that got out the other day for the stick on his finger.
Scherzer, yeah.
Woo. That was nuts. They did the thing in the broadcast booth with the actual stick to show that, yeah, if you get sweaty and you actually try to clean this off, it's still.
I was gonna say, like, if you've ever had rosin on your hands, like the more you sweat and the more you wash your hands, the stickier it gets. Like it doesn't go away. So, and like Scherzer in an interview afterwards, like, yeah, I'd be a more they like he's like they checked me and kept telling me to stop doing it. He's like, I'd be a moron if I'd put more stuff on me. He's like, I was trying to clean it off. Like,
He washed his hands in front of the official.
right. I mean,
Right. Either way, if I was an MLB pitcher and I had to do exercises to help with my pitching, things that I would do probably are not going to be functional for pitching.
right.
Right? I'm going to do exercises that strengthen the muscles and things around my shoulder, my
It's going
elbow.
to be a lot of external, internal rotation to protect, because everybody's rotator cuff injuries over and over again. Stuff to strengthen the muscles around the elbows. There's not Tommy John surgery.
I'm not going to put a weight stack over there, grab the handle, and try and sling it forward as hard as I possibly can. All right, that's going to end up tearing something.
Well, I feel like that's something I've seen people do in the gym.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen plenty of people do ridiculous. Yeah, we see people do ridiculous things at the gym all the time. When it comes to bodyweight exercises outside of a gym scenario, it really is the simpler movements, though. The simplest movement pattern, not the advanced pattern that Matt referenced with the Bosu ball, but the simple pattern of, can you squat down where your knee angle is 90 degrees? Not to the point where your legs are parallel necessarily, but down to 90 degrees and back up. That's step one. Step two would be down to where your legs are parallel and you can step back up. Inside of that, the modality there that Matt referenced at the very beginning of when we started talking about this, you can have advancements, but it only goes so far. At a certain point in time, your switching up of the exercise can produce greater muscle stimulus on certain aspects of the muscles that you have, but it's going to even out, like, because you're not progressing beyond. So if you are a person that is looking into what's called calisthenics and doing that as your strength training, sure, you can do that. You can maintain where you're at, but if you're trying to put on additional muscle mass, you're going to need to find some way to increase the tension that's involved, because that's where muscle growth occurs.
That time under tension, which we've talked about, in our fun little acronym alphabet soup podcast earlier.
Yeah. And simple things you can do that. We reference bands all the time. You could do something like that, or a current available product that's out there. You can search any place. You can find a weight vest that can help you. That adjustable dumbbells are also simple pieces of equipment that you can have at home, whereas that'll still keep you outside of a gym per se, and you can still walk around and do things with that. But even that, at a certain point in time, you're going to need a thicker band. You're going to need a heavier plate in your vest. You're going to need dumbbells that go to a different range. And additionally, if I think the best body weight variation piece of equipment that I've used and would recommend would be a TRX.
Yeah, TRX, like the first time I ever took a TRX class, like I think a typical kind of meathead gym guy, it's like, oh, that's my body weight. They can't be that bad. That was the sorest my core had ever been in quite some time. Because yeah, you don't realize like how great of a piece of machinery your body can be if you put it in the right positions. The TRX bands are fantastic, and you know, something great to be able to travel with. You got something to anchor it to, and boom, you're right there, get a good full body workout.
Yeah, very compact, folds up into a tiny little bag, maybe 3 or 4 pounds if you have an airplane bag.
So TRX, if you're listening, that sounds like a good sponsorship. So we're putting you over, Pick.
Yeah, I would totally take a sponsor from TRX. But they're not a sponsor yet.
I would just take them sending me free TRX band. Like,
This would be nice. The But again, even with those, and this isn't a knock against TRX. Let's say you become some TRX expert and you're doing a million and one things with TRX bands. At some point in time, your time under tension, muscle stimulus that's derived from using a TRX band is going to even out. You're just going to level out. Everything plateaus. And that's where we come in. Franchise Nutrition and Fitness. If you've hit a plateau, or if you're trying to find some ways that you're already doing stuff that switches things up a little bit, we can help you out with that. So that way we create the plan that's custom to you and specific to your goals and what you want to do to help you maximize all of your reps to push you towards your goals. And then on the nutrition side of things, if you want the maximum benefit from your exercise plan, you need to maximize every bite that you take so that way you can reach those exercise related goals. Or maybe it's the reverse. You need to exercise to help you with your nutrition related goals so that way you can kind of get to the point where you can eat whatever you want, not feel guilty about it. But that's all the things that we do at Franchise Nutrition and Fitness. You can hit us up at franchisenf.com.
Yeah, I'm digging the shorter URL. Like, I typed it in earlier, just right before this call this meeting actually. So yeah, it was fantastic.
franchisenf.com. Sign up for your free meet and greet there. And if you have any other questions about what we talked about in this podcast, or you have some other nutrition or fitness related questions, just head on down to the contact us page and sign up there. Either way, like we say every week, maximize every bite.
Maximize every rep.